So you join us again today at Meadow Farm on another live match. The reason being is the comments and the feedback we got last time were so good. So first thing I want to get out of the way is a huge thank you to everyone who comments and gives us support. It seems like you really like these live matches because it's a realistic outlook on what the day can possess and what you can do to try and get the most out of your fishing. So we're back doing it again. Hopefully you enjoy it. It's slightly colder than it was here last time. So it's probably going to be a completely different mindset on how to fish it, but I'll run through that in a moment. The draw's done. I'm on peg 9 and this open match is probably one of the better standard ones you can. We've got a Fisher Mania champion fishing, and Bob Nudd, 5-time world champion, I believe he's 5-time, has just drawn the end peg, the flyer. So if we're not against it now, we're never going to be against it. A world champion sitting on the best peg in the lake. So we will try and combat that throughout the day, but now I need to get the gear ready, get on the peg, and then we will talk you through what the plan is. So we are all set up now. We're probably 35-40 seconds to the start, so I'm going to try and talk you through quickly about what I'm going to do. Now, we say this every time we do a match, but it's so important to try and fish for a target. So I'm going to guess today 40 pound-ish will probably be competitive. So I'm going to aim for about 30 and then see where you go from there. You can obviously always adjust to see how you get on if someone else is catching loads of fish. The whistle's now going. I'm going to carry on talking through as I do. So yeah, that's your first thing you need to do, is think about what you need to catch. If your lake has got loads and loads of carp in, and you know it's going to get one with 150 pound, let's say, it's pointless scratching around trying to catch a few bits and pieces. But in a lake like today, so last time we fished, I said I'm going to go all out carp because I thought it would need about 50-60 pounds to win. Now, because I think it's going to be a little less today, I might be wrong, starting to warm up a little bit, I think the best approach today is going to be fish for everything, certainly at the start, and then use people around you to see what's going to happen the most. Now, I've drawn next to Tom. I'm pretty sure he's going to start fishing for Ide. I might be wrong and he'll show me up there. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to try and snag an early carp. So I've just got on with maggot, a few pellets in a toss spot, and I'm going to see if I can get an early fish fishing for carp. If that doesn't work, I'm going to keep an eye on him. If he's catching Ide, I can then go out and switch a different. So it's quite important at the start to try and think about what you need to catch, what you're going to fish for, and a game plan. So that is the game plan. On top of that, I've also got a line down the middle. We've got these nice little reed stacks to our right, and I've got a shallow line for Ide. So they're the lines that I've set up. I won't go too much detail into the rigs because it's more about sort of the method and the game plan and the thinking when it comes into the matches. If you want to look at more detailed rigs, you check out some of the other videos we've done on here and it tells you exactly what you're using. So we're going to shift out over to where we're fishing. I'm going to go just a few pellets, mag it on the hook, and I'm going to see if there's a bonus fish early on. That's the first game plan, and then from there we'll quickly decide if that's going to be the right way or the wrong way. Right, we've got the first fish. I'm not convinced it's a carp, but we'll see. But like I said, because generally I don't think it's going to be a massive weight, I am just happy to get bites, and if I can fish in a way that gives me a chance of catching everything, that is a lot better for me than singling out one or two. Actually is a carp, so that's a good start. That's not very good netting though. And this sun is right in my face, so I can't see it. There we go, there's a carp to start with, so that helps the situation. There we go, nice F1 actually to start with. So a few of those would be definitely welcome because they are slightly better weight builders than the Ide, although the Ide in here do go to, you know, some of them are getting towards £1.50, so those also are worth targeting. But there we go, hold him up for you, lose a few minutes fishing. That's a start, there's the first fish. Haven't seen too many people really smashing the hide as you would expect them to, so while it's a little bit slow on that, I'm going to carry on fishing like this and see if we can put a few bonus fish together early on. It's quite often the case that you can catch bigger fish, bonus fish as you like, right at the start or right at the end. So even if your game plan is, like I said mine is, where I'm going to fish for absolutely everything, I would still set aside in your match the first, let's say 10 or 15 minutes. That's probably taken a good 5 minutes for a bite, but I'd set a good quarter of an hour away at the start to try and catch one of those bonus fish. And then also, obviously, the last hour of the match, you want to really start going for things, pushing your peg and see if you can catch some bonus fish as well. So I'm pretty happy with that as a start. We will just repeat that process now and see how other people fish. I say it in all of the videos we do. I know you're fishing against everyone on the lake, but you can also use them to your advantage. You know, not everyone's going to be fishing the same way. Don't be the first person to make a mistake. That's what else I always say. So don't go and fill it in thinking you're going to, you know, fish for a massive weight, because it might not happen. Let someone else do the experimenting and just feel your way into a match is always a good approach to start with. But we're back out there now and we'll see if there's another one waiting. Right, fish number 2, and I did just bump one after a missed bite in the swim as well, so hopefully there could be a few bites to be had early on. I don't think it's another big fish, I think it's probably another F1. Yeah, another F1, so certainly not the real weight bills that you can get. I mean, in here the bonus fish would be a big tench or a big carp. Tench go to probably £8, carp probably go the same, but sort of £2 or £3 carp is probably what I'm fishing for, because this is probably about the same size as an hide. But there we go, couple of bites, it's looking okay. Simple tactics, single mag on the hook, a few micros tapped in over the top of it, fished neatly against that back far bank. So that's definitely how I'm going to continue for the next few minutes, and we will see what unfolds. Well, this one feels a little bit better. I have to wait a little bit longer, but I don't mind that. If you're fishing for slightly bigger fish, you're more than happy to sit it out and wait. I think it's quite a hard sort of, although you're in a canal and you're all in the line, it's quite a hard lake to keep an eye on what everyone's doing. But Tom is definitely now catching hides fairly regularly, so that may have to be something that we keep an eye on, and then obviously make decisions if it's worth sitting it out waiting for a bigger fish, or putting the numbers together and joining them on the silverfish. But that was a stab at that one. He popped that right behind the keep now. I didn't expect, but that's better. That's the sort of fish that we're sitting and waiting for. Let's just get rid of that for you so we can hold it up. Again, I'll lose a few minutes fishing time just to show you. There we are. Nice little common. Probably, I don't know, what's he gonna be, £2.5, £3 maybe, so certainly a weight builder. Someone would probably need to catch, what are we saying, 8 eyed, perhaps sometimes 6, 8 eyed to catch that, so it's a fair bit of fishing time. So there's where I'm saying that's where you've got to think about how long you're waiting for these compared to how long you can put a weight of everything together. But I'm pretty sure today's game plan is definitely going to be a bit of everything, but while we're catching these we're going to continue doing so. Okay, I think it's time to start looking at other options. So that didn't really materialise into much. I had that one better carp, a couple of other small F1s, and that was about it. Tom next door has had a carp and a few eyed. Chap next door on the waggler, he's having a few eyed as well, so there's definitely fish coming out. I've got £5 on my clicker, and that's probably being a bit generous if I'm honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait a few different lines now and just start the process of what I was saying about potentially just fishing for a few different fish. So I'm going to just put down the edge here just a bit of ground bait I think, and then over the far side probably some worms. So let me just pop this in here. There we go, right, that's in there. Now I'm thinking over the other side, I've got some worm here, so this is going to be my sort of fish for anything line. Literally anything that comes along, worm and cast eats it. So there's a few skimmers in here, there's a few bigger tench, but the eyed are probably most of the silvers is going to be. So just a little pot of that, and I'm still going to fish it towards the far side because generally they do sort of live over that far back, especially with making noise, but it's worth putting a few down there. But let's get this out there. And I've probably given that, I haven't looked at the clock, but it's probably been about half an hour I guess, maybe a touch longer, just because it is always worth, as I said from the very start, it's always worth trying to catch something a little bit bigger at the start. Quite often is the case. But so now the plan is going to be cut this in here, fish over there, try and catch absolutely anything and just try and get back in the game. I think Simon walked round, who runs it here, Bob Nudd on the end pegs. He's had, well at the time he'd had a tench and about 15-12 eyes, something like that. So he's having a few eyed. I can see the chap in the end, he's definitely catching well, so the two end pegs are probably doing all right. But apart from that, everyone's just catching the odd fish. So that is what I'm going to do, hopefully. We're about 2 and a bit hours in now, and it's been okay. The line that I've put in here with some worm, just to catch anything, I've caught a few eyed. I think I've had 10 or 12 eyed, some F1s, and I've had bites, but it's pretty much similar to what most people are doing. I'm not really doing anything to get ahead at the moment. So there's another bite. So I'm thinking now we're at the point, you know, getting towards halfway, maybe even being halfway, where you sort of make that sink or swim move. Do you just carry on and see if you can get a few more bites than everyone and make it really close, or do you go and try something a bit different? So I think what I'm going to do is I'll still keep this line fed. So there you go, that's the sort of stamp of the eye that we've caught. I'll keep this line fed, but I'm going to try every sort of 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to try my carp line, either on the far side, let's pop this one in there, or this close line down here, because I think Bob Nudd on peg, the end peg, I mean, it's going to be ridiculously hard to beat him anyway. I might have one more go while we're talking about it. It's going to be ridiculously hard to beat him anyway, because he, you know, world champion end peg, and the other end peg I think is doing quite well. And everyone's catching a few fish, you know, it's good days fishing, but you do have to sort of eventually get to that stage where I would say at the moment I'm sort of halfway, just in the middle somewhere, not really making a mistake as such. You know, I've not pushed my peg or anything, I've just plodded away catching the odd fish. But it's a real lottery if you carry on fishing like that. You know, you need to keep an eye on what people are doing around you, what weight you think people are doing around you, and then that's, you know, that's your key to change or stay what you're doing. If I thought I was catching, let's say twice as quick or 1.5 times as quick as everyone else, I'd carry on doing this, because you know, if you're catching a little bit quicker than everyone, you're going to put a bigger weight in at the end of it. But I'm generally not. I think there's probably people catching a little bit quicker doing the same sort of thing as what we're doing now. So I'm going to perhaps have one more fish on this. I'm going to refeed more lines, and I'm going to get a bit more positive now, and I'm going to gamble. It could go completely wrong, and if it does, fair play. That's the valuation we say at the end. I shouldn't have done it, I should have carried on doing this, but that's what I'm thinking. Be a bit more positive, try and fish for some bigger fish and see what happens from there. Well, you never know if it's going to be the right decision, but just trying to fish for a little bigger fish, and we're definitely connected to one now. I mean, if I can get a couple of these, I'll potentially even go back to trying to catch some hide again. I just feel that I'm a little bit behind, and you just need to do something to try and put you back in with a chance. You know, I'm not anything in the money today would be good. Just you know, we're in the middle of the canal, not the worst pegs by any chance, but certainly not, you know, the best of the best. But it's just making the most of your situation, and all I say every match fishing is making the right decisions at the right time. Sometimes you have to be brave, and you have to just come away from catching fish because you don't feel like you're quite in the position you want to be in. That is exactly where I was. I'm praying that this one behaves itself and comes in, because I just felt that I wasn't really going anywhere. You know, it was a gamble, and if I land this fish 10 or 15 minutes away from plodding along catching smaller fish, then it would be a gamble that's worthwhile. So I think I'm going to stop talking, try and concentrate on getting this one in, hopefully have a bit of a better one to show you. There we go. That is a bit more like it. For this place, that is, you know, I'd class this as a big fish for Meadow Farm. A lot of the stockies is normally the carp you're catching in the sort of 2 to 2.5 pound category, but this one's probably a little bit bigger than that. Well, he is a bit bigger than that. Just gonna try and hold him up to you. There you go. That was well worth the decision, coming off the eyed and the smaller fish. Although we were getting the odd bite, like I said, I felt like we need a few more bigger fish. So that was a great selection. Let's go out and see if there's another one waiting for us. Right, what am I giving myself? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds. I think on that clicker I've got 17 pounds. That is just the carp and the F1s, that sort of net. The eyed, I don't bother clicking. I normally count them, and they're in a separate net. So I don't know, we're probably on crack for a little bit more than I was expecting at this point, but I think the lake is probably fishing in general better than I expected. So that's why I said how I fished to start with would have probably been perfect for the, you know, 30 pound target, although we're not there yet. Hopefully we were going to get there, but I think, you know, probably now listening to what a few people said, you're going to need more than that. That's why I made that decision, to see if we could be a bit more aggressive and catch a big one. So let's go back down there and see if another one waits for us. So we had that carp and a couple of tench down the edge, and then I've just gone over the pellet line further. I've had a bite on that. I think this is a smaller fish, but for sure swim rotation is going to be massive. Like, it seems that nothing wants to settle for any more than 1 or 2 bites, and then you know you may as well switch to something else. There's only a little F1, but literally now I think the plan going from here is going to be fish on the clock almost, and just fish 10 minutes in a swim, try and nick a carp. If you do, great. If you don't, back out and catch a couple of eyed for 5 or 10 minutes, because even the eyed are doing the same thing. You catch 1 or 2 really quick, and then you're waiting 3 or 4 minutes for a bite, and it's just not the one. If you try and sit on one particular thing and fish it out, it's just not working. So I might even time myself from going forward now and really get the swim rotation going and see if we can get a bit more or a bit quicker action that way. I'm going to need more bonus fish, so I can't just go all out eyed, because other people, as I've been sitting and fishing for these bigger fish, have carried on catching, you know, not ridiculous amounts, but certainly more than I was. So I think eyed wise now I will literally just use as top ups and see if I can 10 minutes on carp, 10 minutes on eyed, top it up, and that way we might be able to get ourselves a slightly better fish, a bonus fish every now and again, and it will keep us in contact. But I'm not sure what's going on down the other end. I haven't really been paying attention. I've been looking at the float so much, but we'll try and ask around a bit and see how people are getting on. But for now, I have one more go on this, probably 5 more minutes, then it might be a couple of eyed, then it might be back down the edge. Army of tench moved in. There we go, nice fish, nice weight builders, but still on that swim rotation, still moving around, just ticking over weight in the net. So we have got about 50 minutes left, I think, 45 minutes, something like that. I've literally done what I've said. I've rotated between the 3 lines, kept the odd fish coming, but nothing is really taken off, and it definitely has helped by moving around. But now in a normal situation, a normal match, you know, I'd be saying you've got a good chance of catching some big fish down the edge, but it doesn't really happen at this venue. So I think I'm just going to carry on as I am. Rumour has it that Bob on the MPEG has had 70, 75 eyed, something like that. So that's going to be like, well, depending if there's no small ones, that's probably going to be £60, 65 maybe. So we're nowhere near that. But I don't really know what anyone else has had. So, I mean, you'd expect a world champion on the MPEG to do pretty well. So if we take that out of the equation, we need to try and come up with a last 40 minutes of how we're going to keep ourselves or better our position than what we're already in. So for me, I think I might go back to what I did with a few talking bits ago when I said to you I'm going to chance it and I'm going to try and catch a bigger fish if I can. You know, I'm fishing away now talking to you. I've probably been talking a couple of minutes. I've had one bite and missed it. The eyed aren't that quick. I'll catch a few if I carry on doing it, but it's not going to get me anywhere that I need to be. So I think the plan is perhaps concentrate, as I say, that a hook one, perhaps concentrate down the edge, give it a bit more bait, try and be a bit more aggressive with it, and in the hope that somehow we can get a bigger fish. You know, the one we had earlier, that is, we need a couple of those really. If we can get a couple of those in the next half an hour, we have a chance of being somewhere around the frame. But if we don't do that, then perhaps we made the wrong decision. We never know. There we go, there's another one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up the kit for down the edge, go down there, put a bit of bait down and see if we can force it a little bit. Well, that's it, match done, and unfortunately the last, let's say 40 minutes, 35 minutes wasn't very productive at all, really poor. Like I said, I did make the decision to go for it and try and catch something bigger, but that was because I knew from what we've heard from up the top there, at least anyway, it's probably others, but we definitely knew Bob was ahead, and I'd rather try and fail than not bother trying at all. You know, I could have caught £5 worth of bits in 40 minutes probably, but £5 was going to get me nowhere, so I may as well try and catch 2 big fish down the edge and potentially give yourself a chance of winning it. So that was my thought process behind that. Right or wrong, I guess that's for everyone to decide themselves, but it was an okay day. I've had to work really hard, I've had to switch lines around continuously to get bites. Rig wise, the fish really nice and simple, just fish light for the eye. We've obviously fished the standard sort of 014, 016 across, and then really heavy down here because we are fishing in some stick ups. So I've not really done anything spectacular today, no fancy rigs or anything like that, all the stuff that I normally use, but you did get to see the live decisions of when I moved, why I moved, and hopefully it gives you a little insight into, you know, going into your next match, at what time frames you need to think about when you need to move and do something else to try and get higher in the board, or even to the very top and win it, which I don't think we managed today. But there we go. Anyway, I'll get this sorted out. I'll get this packed away. We'll get in the way in, and hopefully see somewhere that have had a reasonable day compared to the field.
Judge of weight,
£62 of hide. Well, there we go, match over, and again, I swear the camera's jinxed me, I've been second to these pegs here in the corner. There's nothing I can do about it, but they've still got to do it, and getting beaten, I've double checked with him, by 4 times world champion Bob Nudd off the M peg. I'll take that. I think he's had £68, I've had 56 for second, and a couple of people have been in the 40s, so a really close match, loads of fish. I mean, I had a bad half an hour, but I generally wouldn't have changed anything. I'm happy with second of where I caught, I'm happy with what I'd done and switched around lines, worked hard at it, and I really hope that, again, the comments were good last time, I hope they're just as good this time, because it gives you an insight into the decision making and why you're making it, and that's what match fishing is all about, when to make it and why to make it. If you can nail those, then you start putting a few results together. But a bit of money picked up, second again. So as it happens, see you later, mate. And it's just really frustrating, there's nothing you can do about it sometimes, but I'm happy with it. I'll go away and we'll come back either here or somewhere else, and I promise you one day I will get a win. But that's it from us. A huge thank for watching. Drop us a comment what you want to see next, perhaps a different venue, a different style of fishing, a different match scenario, and we'll go and do it. Please hit that subscribe button, it really helps us out, and we will see you again on the next one.